times we've seen him working late into the night, and many times we've seen him so exhausted that he vomits blood. We knew he didn't want us to worry about him, so we pretended not to know, watched him smile at us nonchalantly, and then went back to work, the ever-piling work, the never-ending work. Even after he worked himself to death, the lives of the people did not improve much. In the moments before he passed away, we held his hand and accepted the responsibility he entrusted to us. At that moment, he finally stopped smiling. I will never forget the worry, anxiety, and helplessness in his eyes. Then, he left us forever with regret and sorrow. As Miri Farah spoke, tears slowly streamed down her face. Perseus said nothing, but took out a handkerchief that he had prepared for a long time, but which was still brand new. Thanks. Miri Farah took the handkerchief and silently wiped away her tears. After a long pause, she continued, her voice heavily nasal. I really want to fulfill my father's lifelong wish, but I am a useless person, cowardly and timid. I'm so old, and I'm even afraid of thunder. My mother and the ministers don't have faith in me, and I don't have faith in myself either. Jerome is the hope of all of us. I know this is very unfair to him, and I feel ashamed that as his older sister, I can't protect him from the storms of life. But who can I do? He's a prince. Whether he wants it or not, whether I want it or not, this responsibility can only fall on his shoulders. He must bear it, because it is his destiny, and it is also our destiny, the destiny of the entire kingdom of Infero. Mellifera's gaze was sharper than ever before, and she sniffed hard. Perseus couldn't interrupt such a heavy topic, so he could only gently hold Mellifera's hand to show that he stood with her. Miri Farah gave him a grateful look, her eyes red like a little rabbit's. Therefore, I don't want Jerome to waste any more time on Miss Ivisa. If he can't control his distance from Miss Ivisa, I'll take him back to the country early. But that's just wishful thinking on my part. The reality is that he strongly resists it and even talks back to me. As Miri Farah spoke, her sobs grew louder and louder. Now Perseus could finally chime in. Your Highness, I understand your good intentions, but I also understand His Highness Jerome's feelings. Are all boys like you the same, willing to do anything for love? Mellifera said resentfully. Do you compare him to Jerome? Perseus felt even more honored than being on the honor roll. I think so. Perseus nodded emphatically. Men like us, how should I put it? It's just that we can't help but value loyalty and affection very much, even more than our own lives. This is too impulsive, perhaps. But if Prince Jerome wasn't as loyal and devoted as he is now, he wouldn't be the good younger brother you admire, would he? One sentence moved Mellifera deeply. She nodded slowly, with a helpless expression. I really want Jerome to put aside his personal feelings and focus solely on the kingdom and its people, but if he really becomes that cold and ruthless, I really can't imagine it. So, are you willing to accept him as he is? Does it matter whether I accept it or not? If this can help me fulfill my father's wishes, then I'm asking you, his dearest sister, Princess Mellifera, can you accept Prince Jerome like this? Perseus asked again. Mellifera remained silent and shook her head. I think Jerome is already very good. He doesn't need to become someone else, Mellifera said. Doesn't that solve the problem? Perseus smiled. Miri Farah trembled, staring at him in disbelief. Perseus, Mellifera's eyes welled up with tears. Your Highness, Perseus asked, puzzled. Miri Farah hugged him excitedly. Thank you. If you hadn't reminded me, I almost made a terrible mistake. But I didn't do anything. Don't be modest. You have no idea how important what you're saying is to me. Wah. Jerome, I'm sorry. I'm not a good older sister. Wah. Is that so? Why don't you go and tell Jerome? Sister, Perseus. Yes, Jerome's here. Both of them froze at the same time. Mellifera released Perseus. Her face flushed and dared not look Jerome in the eye. Your Highness Jerome, things are not as they seem. Perseus prepared his defenses. I know, Jerome said expressionlessly. You must have talked to my sister a lot, right? Only you could do that. Thank you. Well, I'll be going now. You two can continue your conversation. Please make the most of this opportunity and don't hold back. Perseus got up to make a run for it. No, you should stay and serve as our witness. Jerome pressed him back without hesitation and then sat on his other side. On the right is Jerome, who looks haggard, and on the left is Mellifera, who is bowing her head and remaining silent. How could this blessing be small? Oh, right. It was Duchess Lamanter who told me you were here, Jerome suddenly said. Perseus smiled. Then please have the Duchess get ready for a bath tonight. Chapter 59, Sibling Reconciliation. Perseus's central position is quite significant. When Jerome asked him to stay, and Miliphala didn't object, it meant he was a man trusted by both siblings. At this point, all he needs to do is shut up, listen, and act as a buffer to allow the family conversation to proceed smoothly. Ha ha ha. What a difficult task. Sister, how was your day? Jerome broke the silence. Very well, but you don't need to pay attention to these trivial things. Just say what you have to say, Mellifera said coldly. Even Perseus was shocked by her lightning-fast change of expression. He had just been hugging him and deeply repenting to his younger brother, but now he was acting all high and mighty. How should I put it? Sharp. Sister, I made the choice you asked me to make, Jerome said. Oh, what is it? Tell me quickly. Mellifera remained indifferent. I want both. One sentence successfully attracted the close attention of Perseus and Mellifera. Perseus was all right, but Mellifera was completely dumbfounded. At that moment, Jerome looked over and met his sister's gaze. What nonsense are you spouting? How can you accept both? Mellifera frowned. I don't think being a good king and being a good guardian knight for Miss Ivisa are mutually exclusive. Although you may question whether I can manage both well, I have confidence in myself, and I hope you can have confidence in me as well. Nonsense. I think you're completely insane. Who are you to protect Miss Ivisa? She's one of Perseus's people. Perseus is right here. Let him talk to you. Perseus said he didn't really want to talk about it, and that he should have just slipped away. Deep down, he wanted to use Ivisa to keep Jerome, whom he considered a mere tool, hooked up with. But this is something that obviously cannot be said publicly. Therefore, he cannot support Jerome, because it goes against common sense. But supporting Mellifera means voluntarily discarding a valuable tool like Jerome. Once Jerome left, he had no way to get involved with that beauty, Mellifera. A double loss. Who can withstand this? Your Highness Mellifera, why don't you listen carefully to His Highness Jerome's thoughts before making a decision? We had no choice but to pass the buck. Mellifera certainly hoped that Perseus would say something harsh or even hurtful so that Jerome would stay away from Ivisa. But her conversation with Perseus just now wasn't entirely unmoved. She just didn't want to change her stance too quickly and embolden Jerome to take advantage of her. If the kingdom and Ivisa could be placed on opposite ends of scale, even if one end meant the dreams of her deceased father and countless subjects of the kingdom, and the other meant Jerome's original aspirations, whether as a princess of the kingdom or as Jerome's sister out of personal desire, she hoped the scales would tip more towards the former. All right, since Perseus has said so, Jerome, I'll give you a chance to tell me what you really think, Mellifera said curtly. Jerome gave Perseus a grateful look. Perseus smiled. Sister, I know what you've been worried about. It's the entrustment father entrusted to us before his death and the future of our subjects. Actually, I feel the same way as you. I swear to the gods that I have never forgotten these things for a single moment. Even when you're thinking about Miss Ivisa? Mellifera scoffed. Yes, Jerome is a real man. If he says so, then so be it. Even Perseus found it hard not to believe. But I've told you before, Miss Ivisa now belongs to Perseus. To put it bluntly, you won't get any benefit from protecting her. Why would you compare something so unprofitable to something so important? I want to protect her not because I want to do anything ulterior motive. I just want to protect her. Jerome said loudly. Do you think Perseus would believe that? Who would want their beloved woman to be protected by another man? To be honest, I also find it hard to accept this psychologically, but I am willing to show my respect. Mirifera was astonished. You're too kind. Sister. Look, Jerome was overjoyed. What are you so happy about? Anyone who didn't know better would think you found 200 gold coins. Mellifera said irritably. Elder sister. Anyway, I find it hard to accept your talk of balancing everything, but I can give you a chance. If you can always control your words and actions, and not overstep your bounds as the crown prince of the kingdom of Infero, I can turn a blind eye. Mellifera said. Really? I told you not to be so happy. Mellifera couldn't take it anymore. How could her younger brother be so useless? Jerome was too scared to speak. I'll have Perseus keep an eye on you. If he tells me that you've done anything inappropriate to Miss Ivisa, even just a glance that makes him uncomfortable, you'll have to stop your so-called protection. Come back to the country with me. Understand? I understand. Please don't worry, sister. I will control myself. Jerome quickly assured her. Perseus, would you be willing to help me keep an eye on him? Mirifera looked at Perseus again. Although I have great faith in Prince Jerome, Since Princess Mellifera has made this request, I cannot refuse in order to put your mind at ease. That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Perseus. The siblings both expressed their gratitude to him. So, you two have reached a consensus? Perseus looked around, and both of them lowered their heads in embarrassment. Perseus took their hands and placed them together. The harmonious trio understood each other without saying a word. This matter is now considered closed. Sister, why don't you move back tonight? Let's not bother Perseus anymore, Jerome said. Miri Farah hesitated for a moment, then shook her head. Why? Are you still angry with me? Jerome panicked. Of course not. But if you keep acting so silly, I'm really going to get angry. Mellifera glared at him, annoyed. Then why are you? I have something to say to Miss Ivisa. So let's take this opportunity tonight. In any case, I'll move back tomorrow, Mellifera said softly. Then you absolutely mustn't say anything bad to her, Jerome whispered. Millie Farah's forehead veins were visible. Your Highness Jerome, you should go back first. I'll take care of things here. Perseus said hurriedly. This result is already very good. Why make things complicated? All right then, we'll talk about it later. Goodbye. Goodbye, sister. Jerome left without hesitation. Perseus and Mellifera were left alone again. Perseus, it seems my silly little brother will have to rely on you for support. Mellifera said with a complicated expression. You flatter me. Could you teach him your tricks for dealing with women? Of course, not for him to use on Miss Ivisa. I'm just thinking, if he could find another girl he likes, wouldn't things be much better? Although she said it so naturally, it sounded really strange. What tricks do I have for dealing with women? I'm just doing my best to respect women. Perseus smiled solemnly at the angel Mirafara. Really? Then why? Do you make me like you so much? The angel smile has slightly changed. Chapter 60 class time. Kids, I'm back. If you think a girl likes you, don't assume what you're thinking. If a girl says she likes you, don't rush to believe her, unless she's willing to give. Although he hadn't expected Mellifera to pull this move so suddenly, Perseus already had a plan. I'm so glad I can please your highness, Perseus said without hesitation, closing the distance between them with a firm gaze. I like you too. That's wonderful. Mellifera's smile was a little stiff. So, can I kiss you now? Huh. Now it was Mellifera's turn to be at a loss. Since we like each other, what's wrong with kissing? Are you deceiving my feelings? Perseus frowned slightly. No. That's not true. I didn't. Mellifera quickly waved her hands. Perseus then took her hands, leaving her unable to cover herself. Miri Farah could only stare blankly, her face flushing rapidly. If you're really shy, you can close your eyes. Don't worry, I'll be very gentle. Perseus's gaze softened as he slowly approached. Although her face was already flushed, Miri Farah did not close her eyes. Her beautiful big eyes remained wide open, as if she wanted to see every detail of the process. But when Perseus's hot breath hit her face, she immediately closed her eyes, unable to look any longer. Her long, thick eyelashes trembled incessantly, allowing Perseus to understand how nervous and uneasy she was. But he had absolutely no intention of showing any mercy. No, he had no intention of showing any mercy verbally. Just 2 centimeters away from those rosy, delicate lips. No, I'm not ready yet. Mirafara screamed, her hand still in Perseus's grasp, but her head swayed from side to side, trying to escape his assault, her eyes still tightly shut. Perseus chuckled softly. Your Highness, why don't you open your eyes and take a look first? Miri Farah suddenly stopped, but she didn't open her eyes immediately. Instead, she hesitated for a while before slowly opening them. Perseus's smiling face was indeed very close, but he had a large flower dangling from his mouth, which explained why his voice had sounded a little muffled earlier. After a brief moment of surprise, Mellifera realized that even if he were to kiss her recklessly, the flower would prevent him from touching her lips. That doesn't count as a real kiss. While feeling relieved, Miri Farah couldn't help but feel embarrassed and annoyed. This person actually mocked her like that. Her panicked and disheveled appearance was seen in the whole thing. You bad guy. The blush that had just faded from her fair face turned red again, and Miri Farah glared at him coquettishly. The captivating gaze left Perseus momentarily stunned. He couldn't help but regret why he had acted like a gentleman instead of kissing her passionately like a love villain.